Are you looking for more out of your life? Do you need ideas on how to start new businesses and how to move forward in your own personal life? Well, guess what? You have come to the right radio show. At You Can Overcome Anything podcast show, you will learn and hear from many people from all walks of life who are sharing their challenges, their stories, the habits, and the mind shifts they had to overcome to become who they are today. On top, you will get a chance to connect and see how you can overcome anything by networking and learning about your next move through this radio show. I present to you our great speakers at You Can Overcome Anything podcast show with your host, Cesar R Espino. Hello there and welcome back. It is your host, Cesar R Espino, and welcome to another episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. And today I have a special guest. His name is Antony Vega. Hey, Anthony, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me, man.
Awesome. So Anthony, he's actually the host of the Independent Hustle podcast, active duty of the Navy, and a philanthropist. And I want to definitely dive into more of your story and your journey to where you are now. So with that, can you tell us a little bit about your background? Where did you grow up and what was your upbringing?
Yeah, so I was born in Holyoke, Massachusetts. But when we moved to Alaboro, and I lived there with my three brothers and a sister. And I was raised by my mother. And in my early beginnings, I had my father in my life until I was about 6 years old. After that, we moved to Florida with my grandma, and it was that's when I actually met my sister, my other sister. I didn't even know. I was young at the same time, but glimpses of memory. That's when I met her, and from there, my father wasn't in the picture. I was raised by a mother, single mother, and I had a rough childhood, but great at the same time, because at the end of the day, that's what made me what I am today, right?
Yeah.
So, that's a little background,
What's your parents or your mom? Where they're from originally?
So my mom is from Cagua, Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Gotcha. And my dad is from Guatemala. So, okay. I got best of both worlds,
Yeah.
I'm not stuck in just one culture. I got two. So, but yeah.
Okay, got you. And what were some of the challenges you faced, growing up as a kid? You said you had a rough childhood. So what were some of those things that you encounter?
Yeah, so I would say it was not having my father in my life, because as a kid, I think we always want that father figure in our lives. And for me, it was pretty tough, going through birthdays, holidays, and just growing up without a male figure to teach me the ropes of life, of what it is to be a man, and not letting me walk on this earth barefooted, not really knowing what's going on, what to expect and how to treat others as a man, you know what I mean? Right. And, those little characteristics that fathers install in you, you know what I mean? As a man, I didn't have that. I had my mother, and I always say my mother did a heck of a job, raising all of her kids. But at the same time, she couldn't fulfill what a man was able or could have fulfilled at that moment. You know what I'm saying? So my mother, she worked different jobs, like two jobs at a time, just to make sure she was able to feed us, and that was it was pretty tough seeing that, because at the same time my father was he was abusive, and he hit my mom and stuff. So that's things that you grow up with. And then not every family is perfect either. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have really good relationships with um, my grandmas, uncles, and stuff. I didn't have good relationships at that time. It took years for me to have some type of great relationship with my grandma. You know, rest in peace. You know, she just passed away about a month ago,
Oh, sorry to hear that.
and you know, it just been tough. You know, I had a tough one.
Yeah,
But
no, definitely, and I can kind of relate to some of that with you. I also grew up without actually up to this point I don't even know who's my biological father. Never met him, never, but I don't even know his name, to be honest with you.
right,
And it was definitely not easy growing up with just mother figure, not even having your father figure in the picture. I'm originally from Mexico,
yeah,
and so I can see that in a lot of times, the way the unconscious mind works is that between the ages of 1 and 7 is when it is more responsive, and really anything that happens in your lifetime, that's what's going to carry with you throughout, right? And so you got
right,
to be able to work on those things. And so I want to talk about that because definitely, you being in an environment where maybe your dad was abusive to your mom, whether he wasn't in the picture, all those different changes. How did that affect you, in school, whether it's in middle school or high school or even elementary? Were there any, because of that, were there any negative influences that you ended up falling into?
um, I'll say yeah. You know, like I said, you know, not having that father figure, you don't have that strictness. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? My mother wasn't really that too strict,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
motherly love, right? Motherly
yeah.
love. But, you know, you know, like I said, she did her best. Now for me, I grew up like like any young kid. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we follow trends, we follow the what's hot out there right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
What other people are doing. We're basically followers. And I ended up with wrong crowds at times. You know, I definitely did drugs. You know, I did a lot of pills. You know, of course, I think like anybody, I don't know, but weed, we smoke.
Mm-hmm.
At one point in our life,
Yeah,
we're gonna try that. I drunk,
yeah.
but I was really young at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing that very young. You know, I was going to parties and I was on pills. You know, and those are the things that my mother didn't know, right? And I never cared or I never even bothered to tell her. You know, because it just as young people we think we got it. You know, we think that everything's all right. It's no issues until it becomes an issue. And for me, it did become an issue. But you know, I ended up getting arrested. I ended up having to be on probation. Um, Before I actually joined the military, I was actually on probation. And you know, these are the things that in the long run you do hurt the loved ones, your loved ones. You know, at the end of the day, um, I know I gave my mother so much headaches, but at the same time, due to not having a father in the picture, I think that also caused me being rebellious at times and not caring about what other people think due to not having someone who can guide me the way I needed to be guided. And not saying that my mother didn't do a great job because she did a heck of a job. You know, I love that woman, you know, but like I said, she couldn't do the same. You know, women and men are two different things. You
Right.
know, women might be more sensitive, men are not. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So they're just things that she just couldn't fulfill, you know, and rest in peace to her too, because you know I lost her when I was 14 years old. At the same time, you know, so it just I had to grow up basically teaching myself at the end of the day. You know, not having my father from 6 years old and losing my mom at 14. You know, I basically had to learn how to be a man without actually having a man to
Yeah.
tell, you know, show me how
Right.
to be a man.
Yeah.
I had to go with it. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
had to by the instincts of my, you know, nature, you know what I'm saying? So I just had to learn from there, and you know, I'm kind of happy that it worked out the way it did because I'm here today. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Definitely. You said something that I want to maybe get a better understanding of why that's, in your opinion, why that's the case, right? And you
Mhm.
said, you know, we tend to follow, we tend to be followers and tend to follow the trends, right? And then,
Right.
so that's number one. And with that is like, you know, there's always that saying, right? Like, you know, are you a follower or are you a leader, right? What do
Hmm.
you want to be and which side do you want to be on? And I'm not saying that
Right.
one or the other is better than the other, right?
Hmm.
Except sometimes when you're following a particular crowd or a particular movement or whatever the case may be, may not be the best thing for you. So
Right.
why do you feel like people tend to be more on the following side than the leader side, you know, or you creating your own path and leaving a trail behind instead of following that trail?
Right. I think it's more of society.
Mm,
You know, the way we're programmed at times. We're programmed to follow the trends at times, right? And it happens as you grow up. You know, you're a kid. You're trying to figure out what you're trying to be at times, right? As when you're grown, I mean, hopefully you
mm-hmm,
got your stuff together. You know what you're trying to be, or you are what you already put your mind to be, right?
mm-hmm,
But as kids, we're basically maneuvering. We're going through different roles and figuring out our lives. So what do we like? What don't we like? You know, what we trying to be, what we are not trying to be, and stuff like that. So that's why I say that we're at times we're just followers. That's just our nature. We're followers until we figure out, okay, this is my identity. Once we figure out our identity, that's when we basically move on from that, and we grow from that, you know, and we become um our own image and not other people's image, you know. And we can actually see it now in today's time, how, you know, a lot of people try to, they want to be rich just for the lifestyle,
mm-hmm,
not for the work. They don't want to put in the work. They just want it easy because
mm-hmm.
they see all these celebrities, all these rappers, all these actors. They have huge mansions, cars, and stuff, and they want that, but they don't want to put the work. So to me, I look at that like you're a follower because you don't want to put in the work. A leader puts in the work and gets to where they want to get to. A follower is a person who just follows the trend and just they pretend there's something they're not. That's how I see it. A,
Yeah.
a leader is a person who knows their identity and knows exactly what they want. And a follower is just a follower. You know.
Yeah, yeah, no, that makes sense. And kind of going back to this, you know, even with that, right? You know, getting into drugs, being
Right.
arrested, going through probation, all of those different things. Um,
Hmm.
when you lost your mom at the age of 14, what happened to you in terms of like was looking over you?
Yeah.
Did you go with a particular family member? Did your dad come back into the picture, or how did that played out for you?
Um. So when my mom passed, I actually ended up staying with my sister, my older sister Abigail,
Hmm.
and my hers and I relationship wasn't really that great at that time either, because not only was I young, but she was also like a young um, teen. You know, she was 20, 21, around
Hmm.
that age, and she's taking in a 14-year-old, right? So she basically had to grow up quick as well. All of us had to. And for her, it's like, okay, now I'm here. She was living with her boyfriend at that time, and you know, it was like, okay, I have a boyfriend. We have this place now. We have to bring in my little brother who's 14, rebellious. We just lost our mom, you know. So I had to stay with her, but it was rocky. Our relationship was really rocky, and I ended up moving from her place to uh, a lady that I played football with her son in 2000, around 2005, and she took me in, and I grew up with them. I view her as my auntie. I look at her my auntie. Every time I present her to somebody that's my auntie, those are my cousins. And I stayed with them. There was a lot of issues. I moved back with my sister. So it was that,
Yeah.
them and my sister. So that's who I was until my senior year in high school. I ended up moving with my uncle, who I respect dearly. And I ended up going from there. I finished school. I graduated high school, and I just moved on from there. I went joined the military, and
Yeah.
went from
So
there.
what you going to the military, was that like escape for you? Was it something that you were looking at from that, or what was the deciding factor to say, you know what, I need to go to the military? I know I've talked to other people, and sometimes they join the military
Right.
because they feel like, you know what, I need a change in my life. This is going to be an escape clause for me to maybe look at my life again and restructure that. How was that for you?
So for me, when I was in high school, I was actually in ROTC. So I kind of always, you have that in the back of your head. Like, if nothing goes on right, I have to go to the military. So whenever I was in high school, I had different jobs. And, I had a really, like I told you, like I stated before, I had a rocky relationship with my sister. And staying with my uncle, that's not something I wanted to do because I know my uncle, right? And it's like, once you graduate, hey,
You're out.
you out. You have to do what you have to do from there. Even though we have a great relationship, me and my uncle. It was rocky at times as well because being young, you got to understand, being young, not having your parents anymore, that's not a good fit, and then you have to figure out, okay, that pressure of what am I going to do next? So at the end of the day, I actually had to sit down and think about it. I was like, I don't want to continue doing this. I don't want to continue moving, being unstable, being undisciplined, not having money in the bank, being broke the whole time. I had to ask my sister at times for $20 just to take my girlfriend out, who's right now, my wife now. I had to ask money, and I hate doing that because you ask money, you feel like, okay, I owe you now. So I ended up, joining. I think that's a biggest reason why, it was because of instability and not knowing what my future would have hold if I would have just stayed home, because now I go home and it's like nothing has changed. People, I got a lot of the, friends that I grew up with in jail now, a lot of them dead or drug addicts. And that could have been me, you know what I mean, if I would have kept on the same road. But, I'm actually happy. I'm very grateful for, actually making that step, because like I said, if it wasn't for that, I don't know. I don't know where my life would have ended up. And now I got a beautiful daughter, another kid on the way, so
Nice.
that just shows how life is so unpredictable at times. It's like you're going through so much pain at first, and then it can switch, but it has to be in you. People, the thing is, I always say that people can't tell you to change. You have to change. You have to accept that moment. You have to accept that, okay, this is not going for me. I have to make a change. And I think that was another thing. I thought about it. I accepted it. I accepted the flaws. I accepted the challenge. I accepted everything that came with it. And I said, you know what? This can be a stepping stone for me. And I took it.
Yeah, I love you dropped so many different nuggets there, and hopefully the people that are watching and are listening to us, they're getting all of this. Like, again, this is a true testament of life was not easy, and you've obviously had gone through so many different things and overcame a lot of different aspects of that.
Right.
And just kind of reinforcing some of the things that you talked about is like, just kind of like surrendering or accepting the fact that, you know what, this is not going to be me. The other one is you decided, and I was talking about this recently, where it comes down to your decisions, your choice. That one decision, that one choice can really shift you in a different aspect, and it could either be good or bad. Whatever the decision might be, it can either be a positive or a negative or not so good consequences. And for you,
Right.
you've decided that you had enough. You didn't have the stability. You wanted to find that stability, and you ended up finding something to help you with that. And the other thing too is that you go through so much pain, right? And through this pain comes a purpose, and out of that purpose comes the new you, right? Except the other thing you talked about is that changes within you. That change has to come within you, right? And you got to be able to accept that. So there was so much knowledge dropped in that phrase or words that you just mentioned, that I want to be able to make sure that the people that are listening to us are really paying attention to this, because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, right? You want to be able to find those ideas and those thoughts that are going to help you move to the next level in your life. So having that said, with all of that, and you're saying, okay, well, this is my new purpose. You're still active. So what is that now like for you? Because you also have your host and of that of the Hustle podcast. So what are the things that you're doing now that you're more stable?
Well, I had we're constantly busy, right? Being in the military, we're constantly busy. And, I had to figure out something to do outside of it, because at times you gotta understand, being in the military, your privacy, your life is basically taken, right? Yeah, I'm not trying to say that to make it sound bad by any means, but being in the Navy, you're on a ship, so they know every move you make on the ship, right? So your privacy, quote unquote, is gone. Your freedom at times is gone, and you're basically 24/7 a soldier, a sailor, whatever the case may be. But I had to figure out something to escape all that. Right. So I said my life outside the military is going to be private. And, I ended up just thinking about, okay, I have this little podcast that I never done. I did the whole system. I had it all, but I was like, I never actually got in it. I never done it. So my friend one day, he came up to me. He was like, oh, I wanted to be on a podcast and stuff. I was like, yo, I got one. Let's hop on it. From that day on, his sister, we started doing the Independent Hustle podcast, and it grew to a point where now we're in different countries, which I never in a million years would have thought. I had people in Germany and UK, you know what I'm saying? So I'm very happy for that. So that has been my scapegoat right there. It's been the podcast. Not only that, but we also through the podcast, we have done different events. For example, like giving back to the community and stuff like that. We have done different things. So that's basically my outside job. It's just doing the podcast, figuring out how to use that platform for a bigger purpose. Because I think like your platform, my platform, those podcasters out there, people with radio shows, I think this is the right time to use the platforms and use it for the right reasons. So that's my biggest thing. Is like, I'm trying to figure out how to use my platform a lot more for the better and for the greater good, So I'll say the podcast, my life, and at the end of the day, my life has been very smooth, especially with a wife that supports everything I do. You know what I mean? You always have to have that. You have to have a woman who really cares and support every move you make. And if you're single, well, you just got to motivate yourself. You got to motivate yourself.
Yeah.
I'm always motivated because of her, my family. You know what I'm saying? Having kids, it has to motivate you. And if it doesn't motivate you, then I don't know. But yeah, but my life is pretty good, and I'm just trying to build that legacy for my kids and for my family at the end of the day. So
Yeah, no, got you. Talking about the purpose and having
Right.
more of that. Like, what is your
Yeah.
what do you foresee as your purpose now? Right. Obviously, you're doing this podcast.
Hmm.
You have definitely an amazing story that you've lived through and you've learned so many different lessons. Right. So, what do you see now as being your purpose? And I know that being in the Navy, you've learned a lot of different techniques and you have learned a lot of different lessons also in life.
Right.
So, if you take all of that together, what's your life purpose from this point forward?
Wow, that's a good question, man. That's a real good question. I think in my eyes right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I view like I view it like this. I think my purpose in life is to help others. I'm basically a a, a cup. And if we do it in Spanish, un vaso, ¿verdad?
Mm-hmm.
Who I'm just here to help those in need, those who are struggling in life, those um who needs a way through. And I think that because of my story, my life, the way I grew up, all my struggles, I feel that I can help others. And that's always been in me though. I've always had that in me of, oh, I want to help somebody. I want to help others. I want to make sure that that person can get through life,
Mm-hmm.
even even if it's just a small talk, right? I'm just trying to help. And I think that's my purpose in life, is just helping. And it's
Yeah.
like eventually I want to end up being a public speaker, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and do stuff like that, because I feel like I got a lot to say, a lot to give. Um, and like military ain't there for life, right? They ain't there for the whole time. It ain't for everybody. Eventually one day you have to retire, or one day you're gonna get out, even if it's 5 years, 6 years. You always have to figure out what you want to do next, right? And I think those are the things that I want to do. Is become a public speaker,
Yeah.
continue the podcast, and make it bigger than what it is, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what. If you're not doing this for an actual reason, if you're just doing it for the fun of it, then there's no purpose in that, right?
Mm.
And I look at it like this podcast is a purpose, and it's a stepping stone of where I want to get to on the next
Mm.
round. All right,
Yeah.
so we just got to evolve as it goes.
Yeah. No, I love that. And then the other thing you talked about is motivation. Motivate yourself, or have somebody that's going to
Mhm.
motivate you. And obviously, your wife now has been with her through a lot of different points in your life, whether they
Right.
were high or low. And so,
Hmm.
I believe that you always got to be able to find someone or something to motivate you. So besides your wife, your kid, and your new kid coming pretty soon, what other things motivate you in life?
I would say I'll say the reality of life.
Mm.
And when I say that is my struggles, knowing that I can't call mom to help me out. I don't have a father that will bail me out when I need it the most, right? Um, having my brothers and sisters constantly reminding me how proud they are of me, right? And those are the things that really sticks with me throughout my whole journey in life, is that you always gonna have people who's gonna doubt you. You're always gonna have your rejections. You're always gonna have um, people who gonna want to see you on the ground and not do good. And I
Mm.
think that's like a chip on the shoulders. And that's what fuels me every day as well, is that I know that there's people out there that wants to see me do wrong and do bad, right? And I can't, every move I make, I have to make it wisely, right? And I have to think before I act. I think people just act just for the heck of it and then fail. And then when they fail, they don't learn from it because they never put their mind into it, right? So yeah, I'll say that it's my family, knowing that I don't have my parents that fuels me, because I know that the day my mom passed, I said, I'm gonna live for her, right? everything I do, I want to do it for her to be happy, right? Even though she's not here physically, right? But I know that if I do the right thing, at the end of the day, that would have made her proud. And I don't want to. That's why I don't want to make mistakes, right? We're gonna make mistakes because we're humans, but at the end of the day, I want to do the right thing, even if I failed throughout the time. But do the right thing.
Yeah. And talking about rejections, that happens a lot in many different
Yeah,
aspects. It could be as simple as,
definitely.
hey, I like that girl and I want to go tell her how I feel about her, and you get rejected, or that boy, or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
right? Or even in
yeah.
work. So how do you deal with rejection, or what would be one of your, I guess, advice in terms of how to deal with rejections regardless of the situation?
Right. I'll say rejection. I mean, rejection is gonna come regardless what you do in life. Like you stated, man. It can even be that of a small circumstances where
Mm-hmm.
you go up to a girl and she's gonna reject you, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes professionally, the rejection that you get in your career, I think I've gotten rejection, right? Because like I said, people are going to doubt you. That's a form of rejection. People doubting you.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had that throughout my life. And the way that I look at it was, okay, you don't believe in me? That's fine. I'm gonna make you eat all those words that you just stated.
Mm.
I looked at it might sound bad, right? But I looked at it as a form of revenge. And not a revenge in a bad way. I mean a revenge in a good way,
Right.
where it's like, you doubted me, okay, I'm gonna go get it.
Yeah.
So you can learn, so you can stop underestimating me. But at the end of the day, I feel like people are going to underestimate you regardless. So you have to be happy within yourself to continue, right? But yeah, you know, I basically, what I've done, it has been just look at it in a positive way and made that basically a homework of mine to make sure that all those people who doubt me at the end of the day look bad. That has been my homework.
Yeah.
And I don't do it as I mean, I hate those type of people. It's more of, you need those type of people
Yeah.
to reject. You need rejection, because at the end of the day, if people are constantly complimenting you, or people are constantly telling you how good you are, or I mean, never criticizing you, you're never going to fulfill those wickets.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Everybody has a flaw. And sometimes it takes haters, it takes those type of people to point them out so you can learn how to grow from that and be better. So that's why I say that. I always seen that as a homework, to continue to shut their mouth, even though I take criticism as it goes. But at the end of the day, you need those type of rejections.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I like that. I like that
And
a lot.
I hope I stated it the right way. So
Yeah. No,
you know.
you did, and I like that. And it's like you need the rejection to fuel your ambition to move forward and say, okay, I'm gonna prove you wrong, because you're giving me that ammunition to say, well, you're not gonna do it. Well, let me prove you wrong. And I like how you put
Correct.
it. And I never heard it this way too. Is like, you're right. If you're getting all these compliments and you're getting all this praise and things like that, and there's nothing negative, then it comes. The first thing that comes to mind is that now you're looking at it from the perspective where, well, I'm comfortable, and if you're
Yeah.
comfortable, you stop growing, and if you stop growing, then
Yeah.
you start dying. So therefore, there's
Yeah.
no further purpose.
And you got to see it this way too. If you're constantly, if you're getting compliment the whole time, you're never gonna know what failure is.
Mm. Yeah.
And to be honest, I had a conversation. I actually had an interview last week. I was on another podcast, and
Mm-hmm.
I put that out, right? It's the fact that Jeff Bezos started from a garage,
Mm-hmm.
right? Microsoft started from a garage. All these big companies started from somewhere small.
Mm-hmm.
To become who they are today, how many rejections they had?
Mm-hmm.
Millions. because when you have an idea, people are programmed to tell you no. Oh, but there's the competitor right there. You're not gonna beat them.
Mm.
Oh, you know what? Think about something different. Those are the people that I look at as, okay, you that type of guy. Well, I'm gonna show you that I can do it, right? Because I can guarantee you, Jeff Bezos probably had billions of people telling him, okay, your idea is never gonna work. And look at what Amazon is today, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said this. They basically taking FedEx, UPS out of work, and that just shows you that perseverance, knowledge, and self-discipline will get you anywhere.
Mm.
It'll get you anywhere. So, yeah, I think that it's necessary.
Yeah,
It's necessary.
and with that, even what comes to that, I believe that even when you're failing or you have a some sort of not just a failure, but you feel like you're losing. It really you're not. You're learning. I think that every failure, anything like that is a lesson or an educational experience that you can learn from and then do it better the next time. The challenge we have though is that people tend to fail. And then that's it. They give up. They don't see what you talked about. Look at it from a positive perspective. Look at it from a positive way. Like, okay, what can I take from here? That although I might have failed or seems like I fell, I didn't. It's like, what can I extract from that can help me move forward to that? And again, you talked about it. Like a lot of people have gone through so many different lessons in life to get to where they have to get to. Walt Disney filed bankruptcy 7 times. Look, Disneyland or Disney is huge, right? Yep. And so when you look at it from that perspective, you have to go through that pain to be able to grow into something bigger from a purposeful perspective.
100%. 100%.
Right. So in terms of if people wanted to connect with you, where can they connect with you?
Yeah. Well, I got Instagram. I have 2 different pages. I got one for the podcast, which is the Independent Hustle Podcast. And my regular page, my primary, is Antony Vega Official, which is ANTONYVEGA Official, of course. And also Twitter is A Vega Official, if I'm mistaken. That's how it goes. Yeah. I switched the names. I'm always switching that name. And YouTube, which is the Independent Hustle Podcast. Gotcha. We haven't really used too much of the YouTube. Right. I have to though.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Anthony, I have a couple more questions for you before I let you go. Okay. If you were to look back in your journey up to this point, what has been your biggest lesson?
Up to this point, what's my biggest lesson? I would say you determine your life, your chapter. Don't let nobody else determine it.
Mm. Yeah, that's powerful.
That's a big. I'll say that's a big one of the biggest lessons I've learned.
Yeah, and definitely right. You're the author of your chapter, right? What's gonna come next, and you decide on what to write on that chapter. And it comes down to decisions, comes down to a lot of that stuff, right? In terms of, do you have any daily routines, rituals, or things that you do, habits that you do every day to kind of help you through your journey?
I go run.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a big thing, right? I think, I see it this way. You have to perfect yourself in different ways, right? And mine's is like, not only have to be craft yourself professionally, but also physically. You have to protect yourself. You have to take care of your body, because if you don't take care of your body and it's all broken down, how can you move on, right? How can you do these things? So for me, it's like working out, go and run, even if it's 2 to 6 miles, 8 miles, whatever the case may be. I go run and stay fit, because like they say, our body is the temple, right? And we have to take care of that temple and make sure that we can constantly every day do the same routine and continue working and provide for the family.
Yeah. One thing that I always tell people is that your body is the vehicle that carries you through this journey, that journey 100%. Being life, right? And so if you don't take care of that vehicle, then your
Gonna break
life is
down.
gonna, right? And
Yeah,
so that's one thing I tell
definitely.
people, and I definitely, agree with you on that. In terms of you've given us a lot of great information, by the way. So I
Thank you.
want to see if I can get one more out of you.
Yeah,
If there's
sure.
any of the people that are listening to us or watching us, and they're going through some sort of challenge in their life right now, whatever that challenge might be, what can be one thing that they can do to start overcoming that challenge?
Wow. Awesome question. First off, I would say accept the challenge,
Mm.
accept the difficulty, because nothing is given in this life. Everything is, you have to work for it, right? And for those who are going through stuff, you have to understand that pain is temporary. It don't, even though the scar is there for life, the pain itself, you can overcome it by understanding that at the end of the day, you're strong enough to get through anything. For me, I had to come to that sense of acceptance, understanding that, okay, I don't have a father. My mother just passed away. Recently, I just lost my grandma. I had to come to an acceptance that these are the pains and struggles that make me.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I am who I am, because throughout all these pain and struggles, you learn something different about yourself. And I think that anybody who's going through something, I feel that you have to really, it hurts. It hurts really bad, regardless of what you're going through. You can be an addict. You can have lost somebody. You're probably depressed for life reasons. You have to come to the sense of acceptance and understand that that's not going to make you weaker. That's going to make you stronger. And you just got to continue and build your legacy in your life. And at the end of the day, if you're an addict, you have to accept the fact that you're an addict and change. And look at every damage that you're potentially doing, not only to yourself, but the loved ones around you. And for those who lost somebody, just understand that you have to live for them now. If you make a wrong mistake, you're basically putting a stain in their legacy, in their life, right? And that's how I seen it. People might argue with me, but I seen it this way. If I go start doing drugs like everybody thought I was, I'm basically, I don't know if I can cuss here.
Yeah.
I'm basically shitting on my mom because she's the one who raised me. And if people are looking at me and say, oh, he got no home training, he wasn't raised correctly, I'm basically shitting on her. Right? So I had to see it that way. It's like, I have to live for the greater good. I have to make sure that her image isn't stained because of my wrongdoings. So those are the things, right? And anybody who, and I say this, if you don't mind, also, I had a brother who went through a little phase, right? And he thought about overdosing. So for those people who are going through that and feel that they don't have no purpose in life, think about this. Everybody has a purpose. You just got to find it. As cliche as that sound, right? You have to figure out what you like in life. The amount of pain that you can leave behind just by deciding to kill yourself isn't worth it, right? And I know there's a lot of people who are going through that because it happens every day, right? People has that idea. But to be honest, strength is nothing more than how well you hide your pain. You have to understand that, like I said, pain is temporary. As you have to look at the bright side of things, as bad as hard as that can be, depending on your situation, you have to understand that life is bigger. You have to make it the best you can. Killing yourself doesn't do nothing,
Right.
but leave more pain. So you have to know within yourself, okay, this isn't it. Killing myself ain't it. What do I want to do in life? You have to look at the brighter picture of things. And a lot of people have overcome that. And, it hurts, man, because I had to go through that situation with him. But at the end of the day, he's gone through it, and he overcame it. And that's because he understood that, that's selfish. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, and that he knows that life is bigger than that. It's a lot more into it, but I think those are my advice. I hope that can help somebody. I hope that can help any listener, any viewers, into the fact that life is bigger than just killing yourself, addiction. You know what I mean? And trust me, I've been on both sides. So just because I'm saying it doesn't mean like, oh, he didn't go through it. He just saying, I've been through stuff like that, man. And I'm just trying to enlighten somebody, help somebody out on that point.
No, I love that, Anthony. And at the end of the day, again, you definitely have gone through a lot of stuff, and I love the fact that there's a bigger purpose in life, and I do love that everybody has a purpose. You just need to find it, and with that, like even just accepting that challenge and knowing that pain is temporary. And if you start thinking about it from that perspective, I always tell people that you got to look at life from a different lens, right? You're looking at it from one lens right now. You got to put on a different lens and start looking at the possibilities, right? Instead of worrying, how about you start wondering what would it be if this was the case, like something positive. Even going through a tough, challenging moment is what would happen if I was to do this, right? And when you start thinking about that, you're activating a different part of your brain that's going to help you and give you the possibilities to start thinking about all the things you can do. And so you definitely, nevertheless, I love everything you mentioned. And so I just want to say thank you for being here on the show, and really appreciate all the knowledge.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me.
Awesome. And for the rest of you guys, please do me a favor. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this post or this podcast. Please make sure that you check us out on every podcast platform. And I will be waiting for you at the next episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Cesar Espino, real estate investor, business coach, and consultant, and author of the book, You Can Overcome Anything, Even When the World Says No. My number is 424-501-6046. In my book, I talk about making the necessary changes to shift your mind for prosperity and certainty. Pick up your copy at Amazon. I also love helping families with their real estate and can purchase your house fast and all cash. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. My number is 424-501-6046.
Thank you for having me today. I am so glad you've tuned into this podcast. You can find me at your favorite podcast platform where you can like, subscribe, comment, and share. And to learn more about myself, my services, you can find me at www.CesarRespino.com, or you can also find me at your social media. Thanks for joining me, and I am looking forward to having you at the next episode. And know you truly can overcome anything.